This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. My co-host today, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, Anthony O'Neill, host of the ever-popular YouTube show Exploding called The Table. The table's not exploding, but the popularity is. So you can check him out there on YouTube anytime. And, of course, check out his advice here today on the air. If you want to talk to us, the call is free, and some say the advice is worth exactly what you pay for it. The phone number is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Victor is in Dallas. Hi, Victor. How are you?
Hey, my man, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Better than I deserve. How can we help?
So, I have a $14,000 debt remaining on my car, financed via Ford, and I could sell it today for about $22,000 and just keep the cash and use that to buy another car and have a little bit of money left over. Me and my wife are both in grad school, so we're cash flowing that and just paying that out of pocket, so that extra money could be helpful. The complicating factor is that I don't actually pay the monthly note on my car. My dad pays it for me every month, and it's been like 3 years, and he's never missed a payment, so he's really good with it. So I'm not actually, spending that money, but the car is in my name, and I think that's it.
What do you guys make? What's your household income?
So we make about $42,000.
When will you graduate from grad school?
So I'll be done in next year. I don't know whether it's going to be in the summer or in the fall. It kind of just depends on how much courseload I can handle. But I'll be done next year for sure, and just don't know what semester. And my wife has about another 2 years probably, and we're both in seminary. She's doing counseling to be an LPC, and I'm just getting a general theology degree for the pastorate and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Sell it.
Yeah.
Sell the car?
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
when you sell it, have a conversation with your dad and make sure that he's not going to want part some of the proceeds.
Oh, no. I talked to him already. He's like, hey, if you sell it, you can keep all the cash, and I'll send you whatever I would pay for the car to you just in cash as a gift to, help pay for school.
Oh.
So he said he would give me that, and we'll have that in our pocket as well.
I like your dad.
Yeah.
How much is your car payment?
My car payment is maybe $430. I don't actually know. I've never made the payment, but it's somewhere between $400 and $500. It's like a 2018 Mustang.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when I graduated college,
Here's what I'm basing that on. Your income is low for someone driving a $22,000 car, and it's going to stay low for a while. If you told me you were getting ready to graduate in the fall, well, everything's getting ready to change, then we're not going to make a decision based on what's happening today because it's going to change real soon. Yeah. But it sounds like you've got a couple more years of this, and not having this around your neck or your dad's neck or anything else would be really handy. So the rule of thumb is don't have too much invested, even if it's paid for, in things that are going down in value. One definition of too much invested is anything with wheels and motors added together equaling more than half your annual income is generally too much invested. So if you make $50,000 a year and you buy a $30,000 boat, that's under the stupid column. Okay? And, you make $40,000 a year, you got a $22,000 car. Now, you're not paying it, and and that's nice and all of that, but just getting rid of an asset that's going the wrong way while your income stays in the 40s for the next 2 years is a wise thing.
Yeah. And he's going to come out with about $8K, Dave. So, I mean, I'm buying a $5,000 car cash.
Yeah, 5 or 6, something like that, and then the $400 goes in your budget instead of going into the bank.
There you go.
So it's almost as if you got rid of a car payment.
Yeah.
Since your dad's going to continue to send the money. That's very generous of him. I'm with Anthony. That's very nice. He's supporting him. He's proud that he's going into the seminary.
Yeah.
And, trying to be there to help him and walk with him through the process, and that's good.
So as a father, Dave, what would you like to see him do with that $400 that he's getting from his father every month?
I think the young guy's got a pretty good handle on his budget already.
Absolutely.
He's out of debt. I mean, there's nothing in here that indicates he's lacking in frugality.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what do you think?
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I'm pocketing it. I'm gonna use it towards school.
Yeah, it's going in the budget, the monthly budget for food, lights, water, school, cash flow in school, and now we're $400 up.
I mean, if another 2-3
and
years.
we don't have something that we own that over the next 2 years while we drive it's going to lose $8,000 in value.
Absolutely.
Which is what happens to these stinking things. They go down like a rock. That's where Chevy got that, like a rock.
But you know what, Dave? Some of our listeners are saying, but Dave, he's not paying for it.
I know, but he is paying for it.
Right.
When you take $22,000 and you turn it into $12,000,
right,
that's paying for it.
Yes, sir.
Anytime you do that, you're going the wrong direction. All right, Tony's with us. Tony is in Sacramento. Hi, Tony. How are you?
Hey, Dave. Thank you so much for taking my call. How you doing there, Anthony?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for asking.
So my question is this. Our parents-in-law had just offered us to live rent-free in a vacant home they have owned. So they own several properties, and this one is just vacant, and they wanted us to sell our house, stack that cash that we made on equity, live there rent-free while my wife finishes nursing school this December. And we don't know where we want to be located yet, just because when she gets done with nursing school, we get a better idea of where we want to, settle. And we know this is not going to be our forever home. So should we take that offer?
It's a tough one for me. Anything with parents and I get a little nervous, especially when I hear free. Because I don't want something to go left. And correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, but if something goes left that they don't like, then they can kick me out. So I'm 50-50 right here. I'm a little nervous.
How's your guys' relationship?
It's pretty good. So my parents-in-law had helped all of the other siblings, and we're the youngest one now. So they had helped all the other siblings, they were living rent-free also.
So they're not controlling people.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
They're very helpful. We had a great.
I think that's Anthony's concern, and that's a valid concern. Yeah, I'm probably going to take it since it's a quality relationship with quality people, and it's for a short term. And your game plan is you're going to be moving anyway in 6 to 9 months anyway, right?
Right. Correct.
Yeah, and so you just pile up the cash. Are you guys out of debt?
We don't have a debt in the world. So I did, when I bought this house, I did co-sign with her sister-in-law because I have no credit. Mm-hmm. It's because I never had a credit card at all. So she's under the loan also.
That helps get rid of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. How much money do you have in your savings account right now, Tony?
Right now, without selling the home, is $40K.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with Dave.
Yeah, you're going to, you're just cashing out while the market's hot, and you're going to put the money in the bank for your next move in this next transition. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing huge, no huge advantage. Basically, it's your monthly payment is your advantage for 6 months, and that's enough reason to do it. As long as everybody stays on their side of the fence, good boundaries with the relatives, then this can be okay. This is the Ramsey Show. Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless. New episodes of The Table with Anthony O'Neill air every Monday. how to set a clear vision for your future, everything you need to know about success, and how you can go from looking fake rich to really becoming wealthy. A lot of people looking fake rich.
Hey, absolutely. And you know what, Dave? I think you'd be very proud of me. I know you probably already listened to the show, but this week's show is the 10 things you shouldn't do with your paycheck.
Ooh.
And I literally write down verbatim. It's an hour-long show, and I literally talk about here's what you need to do with every time you get paid. Cover your four walls, do this, do that. And the response is insane. I already had 25,000 views in 24 hours.
Wow.
Because I literally go through the basics because people want to look rich when I want to help people. Hey, here's how you build wealth, and it's a solid foundation. So,
Tom Stanley, that wrote The Millionaire Next Door, the last book he wrote before he passed away, wrote a book called Stop Acting Rich.
There it is.
And he went through the statistical and mathematical evidence that acting rich will actually cause you to never be rich.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pretty amazing. Well, here at Ramsey Solutions, we want to transform so many lives that disruption happens to this crazy culture. This crazy, have y'all noticed that this culture is out of control? Imagine a world where it's weird to have a student loan, where most people pay cash for their car, where the credit card is the cigarette of the financial industry, where you actually understand the success principles, and your kids do too, that Anthony teaches every day, where you understand how to get a job and have a career you love from Ken Coleman, and it becomes normal. Well, instead, we're trying to put ourselves out of business, but there's no danger of that. If you want to join us on that crusade, we're currently on the hunt for software engineers with expertise in Ruby on Rails. See, I don't even know what it is. Java, C#, front-end technologies. If you're a UX designer, SEO, content marketing specialist, a data analyst, if you're in the tech world, we are hiring 300 folks this year. And Ramsey Solutions is exploding. And not just tech, but everything, but a bunch of high-end tech jobs. And here's the cool thing about tech jobs at Ramsey. We work 40 hours, not 80. We actually go home. You come out here to the parking lot at 5:30.
Oh, yes.
It's empty. It's empty. And we don't ask people we don't crack the whip on them and so forth. So text the word work if you're interested. You can check out Dave's hiring tab at RamseySolutions.com or text work to 33789. Work to 33789. Because we do that during the 40 hours.
No,
we work.
We do.
We work. Laura is with us. Laura is in Montreal, Canada. Hey, Laura, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Better than we deserve. How can we help?
So my question.
You're breaking up. Try again.
Hello?
Hello. Try one more time. You're breaking up.
Okay, no worries. My question, I'm really clueless right now, to be honest. So my parents have an 18-year age difference. And there is so obviously recently we've had some conversations about wills and things like that. And my family has a cottage. It's really important to us. It's been in our family for generations, and it really means a lot to everyone in our family. However, I was speaking to my mom, who doesn't have a job, and she expressed that she would be interested in selling it after, God forbid, the passing of my father, especially if she needed money. And I'm really wondering, what right as a child do you have to interfere in that?
None.
If any?
None.
Zero.
It's not your stuff.
Yeah.
Why do you think you do, Laura?
I don't know. It's just so hard seeing something that meant so much to everyone in our family, possibly not, being in our family.
Yeah. How much is it worth?
A lot. It's just on a really good piece of land, so probably upwards to $1 million.
Well, why don't you sell some of the land and keep the cottage?
Would I be able to suggest that, or is that?
Well, you could buy the cottage and ask them to carve out just a few acres and keep the cottage itself. Because it's not the farm that means something to you. It was the lake part of it, right?
Yeah, it's just generally having even a piece of it. Just the memories that are attached to the area. I guess that is a good idea. It's just rough. It's hard to, I have offered to even, give support if needed. I would be fine giving financial support, obviously, to my family.
Mm-hmm.
But
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay. What do you make?
Just under 70
Okay.
grand.
All right. And your dad is how old?
My dad is in his mid-60s now.
Okay. All right. Well, let's pretend you got 20 years before this really comes up. He gets to his mid-80s. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That would give you time to prepare, if this means a lot to you, to build some wealth and be able to offer to buy it.
Yeah.
And it would be certainly okay for you to ask that you be given the option to buy it in the will. Should that you be given first right of refusal or an option to purchase it, first option to purchase it, or something like that, so that they didn't just call you up one day and go, "We sold it." Instead you got because you'd saved up $500,000 and you could have bought half the property and had them sell off the other half or something like that, and that would have scratched your itch. And then at that point you become a customer of the estate, not someone who just feels entitled to it.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
Just have the conversation, but I wouldn't go in there saying, "Hey, this is what I want. This is what needs to be done." Just ask the question.
You don't have any rights.
Yeah.
You're not entitled to anything.
Right.
I'm sorry it hurts your feelings. I understand that. And it does mean a lot to you emotionally. I hear you saying that. But that doesn't give you any moral or legal or even emotional rights to it. We have a lake house, and if I decide to sell it tomorrow, it would break my kids' heart because they've all learned to ski there. The grandbabies have all spent time there. We all love it. It's the same kind of a thing. It's an emotional piece of property for us.
It'll break my heart too, babe.
Anthony would be crying. His eyes are already leaking.
I'm serious.
Yes, that's where you learned to ski.
Exactly.
He learned to ski there.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Hey.
He did. He's quite a water skier now. You should have seen him. The falls were amazing last weekend. But the point being, you earn the right to speak into this by having some money to do something. And it's not just a matter of offering support. It's a matter of, hey, if you're ever going to sell it, I don't want that to happen because I love it so much. Please give me first rights. Yeah. And would you mind even putting that in the will, Dad? Yeah. And something like that, that would be okay. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. And so I got dibs on that. That's if you would allow me to, I would consider that awesome because it means so much to me. But just because it was your childhood summer vacation and it's emotional does not give you any rights. You have zero entitlement on that. Sorry. That's my opinion, and you asked it. Josh is in Dallas. Hey, Josh, how are you?
It's an honor to talk to you, Dave. I have a question about trading in my vehicle. So I purchased a brand new truck November last year and traded in my truck. The dealership contacted me a couple weeks ago or last week, and they're wanting to buy my truck back with the shortage of vehicles. So I owe $26 on it right now. I made a really good trade on it and got a lot of equity in it, and I owe $26, and they're wanting to offer me $41,000 in cash right now.
What'd you pay for it?
I paid like $42,500.
Wow.
Yeah. So
what is
I
it
got
worth?
a great. What is it worth?
Yeah. What does Kelly Blue Book says?
That's what I did an online Kelly Blue Book trade-in, and it said that it was worth $40, but then whenever I went and talked to the dealership, they said they'd give me $41.
Yeah, and that's trade-in, by the way. That's not private sale. So I think you could push them, get a little more out of it. Do you want to sell it?
Well, here's the thing. So my wife and I took on some debt from a child custody case of $14,000 from a attorney fees. So we're working on paying that off.
What's your household income?
$140.
Okay. I'm okay if you sell it. It's certainly a good opportunity if you want to get out. This is like getting out while the getting's good. And you probably can get more for it if you lean on them just a little bit, because you do obviously have a vehicle. Wow, you can sell it for what you paid for it 6 months later. How weird is that? Highly unusual. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Jeffrey and Megan are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Hi, we're great.
Hi, great.
Welcome. Where do you guys live?
Lee Summit, Missouri.
Lee Summit, Kansas City area.
Yes, sir.
That's where my daughter-in-law is from. Awesome. Good for you guys. Welcome to Nashville. And all the way down here to do a debt-free scream.
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. How much have you guys paid off?
$106,180.44.
Good. How long did this take?
2 years, 2 months, and 10 days.
All right. And your range of income during that time?
It was $102,000 to $130,000.
Good. What do you guys do for a living?
I'm a medical laboratory scientist.
And I'm a clinical manager for a residential behavioral health facility.
Oh, great. Okay, cool. What kind of debt was this?
About half was my student loans, and then we had my car, and then credit cards.
Ah, you were kind of normal.
Yeah.
Very. Normal sucks, but you were there.
Yes.
Lots of debt. $106,000 worth of car, credit cards, and student loans. That's a lot.
That's
It
a whole
is.
lot.
Yeah. So what happened 2 years and 2 months ago that got you started on this journey?
So our church had started offering FPU, and I'm actually the nerd and was kind of like, oh, I think we need to do it, but I never pushed for it. And then Megan was actually like, we're doing this.
Oh, that's good. So Megan, what made you decide to push for that?
You know, I think it was really when you're close to maxing out a credit card that has a $20,000 limit every month, you've got a problem. And as a counselor, the first step to change is admitting that you have a problem.
Amen.
A little bit of my own advice.
Amen. Yeah, that's exactly right. That is by far the first step. As a matter of fact, you've almost solved a problem once you admit that there is one.
Yes.
Because everything else will just happen after that. Yeah. Once you say, this has got to stop. Yeah, so then the class pops up at just the right time at your church.
Yep.
And you jump into Financial Peace University, both of you together. And so how far into the class were you before you kind of went, I think we really can fix this? Like hope.
It's probably the third week, and it's actually kind of interesting. Megan had gone shopping at Walmart, and she had her cash envelopes, but didn't have enough cash. So she grabbed for a credit card.
And that evening, during our class, we cut that puppy up.
So that was the debt lesson.
That was the debt lesson. That was
Anniversary.
the plastic surgery.
Yeah, and at the end of class, everybody chops up their credit cards. Well, that was perfect timing. Yeah, one last hurrah at old Walmart. Chop, chop. I love it. Plastic surgery. Very good, you guys.
I love it.
Very
I love it.
good.
So throughout this journey, 2 years. That's a long time. Let's be honest. What was the hardest thing outside of cutting up the credit cards? I see her face right now, but outside of that, what was hard throughout this journey?
You know, I think for me, it was just really learning to live within my limits, like setting limits for myself. And I'm the free spirit. I'm the one who likes to go shopping on the weekends. I like to go do things. But learning to be more intentional. And, we didn't, we set a recreation budget so that we weren't driving each other crazy. And we set a date budget so we still have that time protected. And just making good use of the funds that we had.
It's awesome. That is awesome. Now, with you being the nerd, what was hard for you? Because it seems like you actually enjoyed this process once you started.
I did. The hardest part was actually starting. I had a very good 100% match on my 401k, up to 10%. And I didn't want to give that up.
No, I don't blame you. That would have been hard. It would have been hard for me.
I actually had to convince him that I'm like, no, look at Dave's math. It works. We have to stop this.
Man.
And he ran the numbers himself, and he's like, oh, it actually would work.
That's a nerd for you.
I love it. That's fun. That's exactly what I would have done, brother. All right. So what do you tell people the key is now? You've done it. You've gotten out of debt. What's the secret to getting out of debt?
No credit cards.
All right.
And also in that same vein, I mean, it's the patent answer that everyone gives, but the budget.
Yeah.
It sets the budget. It sets the limits for you spend this.
Well, it's the map to Florida. If you want to drive to Florida, you need a map. You know, it's the GPS. It shows you where to go and get out. You know, turn here, don't turn here. Oops, you missed it. Keep going. You know, whatever. I mean, that's what you need with a budget. You got to have a guideline, and you don't get to your destination if you don't have a map. And that's all it is. That's why everybody says it, because it works. It is the key element that we do see in people that are successful, because it's, as you said earlier, Megan, it's the intentionality, but in this case, it's intentionality on paper.
Yes.
And that's really all a budget is.
I'm curious. Now that you're out of debt, what's next?
Well, as part of our journey, Jeff was commuting an hour each way to work. So we made the move from a rural county south of Kansas City to the metro area. So we're renting now. So that total doesn't include selling our house. So we sold the house that we had. We're renting now. So now we're trying to plow through steps 3 and 3B.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Get the down payment saved to get another property.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good for you guys. So well done. Well done. So you brought your kiddo with you. What's the name and age?
Bethany, age 6.
Bethany is 6 years old. So was she participating in all of this process?
Well, kind of. As she's gotten a little bit older in this, she has her own chores and her own money that she gets to earn, and so we're trying to help her learn how to do that.
Cool. Way to go, Bethany. Good job. Well, we've got a copy of The Legacy Journey for you. That is the next chapter in your story as you move on and change her family tree and leave a legacy. Well done, you guys. Very proud of you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Very, very neat job. I love it. Also, a copy of The Total Money Makeover, an extra one for you to give away so you can pay it forward and get somebody else moving on this journey so we can keep spreading the good word out here on how to get out of debt and how to become wealthy. Well done. Jeffrey, Megan, and Bethany from Kansas City, $106,000 paid off in 2 years and 2 months, making 102 to 130. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free! Really good job. Bethany been practicing.
You can tell. She was counting a lot louder than her parents.
Woo! I love it. Good for you. Well done. Man, that is awesome.
That is.
You know, they moved, they got new information, and they acted on it.
Yeah.
$106,000 of credit cards.
Yeah.
Credit cards.
Credit cards.
And
And
we just don't trash credit cards often enough on this show.
we really don't.
We should trash them more.
You know.
So they had plastic surgery, and they didn't say, "Oh, I get airline miles. Oh, I get Discover points."
Uh-oh.
And they didn't start talking broke people talk.
Uh-oh.
Because rich people don't say that stuff.
Come on, Dave.
That's what broke people say.
I know. I'm rich.
Keep one card for an emergency.
Ah.
That's just broke people talk.
Ooh. You just made some people upset, Dave.
That's my spiritual gift. I am talented at that. My goal, because some of the best things that have happened to me in my life are when I got pissed off and I had to go prove somebody wrong and I was wrong.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm not wrong on this one. And so if you're pissed off because you're one of those little, you got mileage, like you're ever going to use that miles. Have you ever tried to use the miles with the airline? Freaking Jupiter has to be aligned with Mars.
Oh.
I mean, there's so many guidelines and setbacks and no ways to do it. And you know what she said? Trick to getting out of debt?
Yep. Cut them up.
Cut them up.
Cut them up.
Cut them up.
And after you cut them up, get intentional about getting out of debt.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're a rat chasing its tail, man. You just go. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing happens except you're making MasterCard and Bank of America. Oh, make me want. I just got a little throw up in my mouth. Bank of America. Ugh, gross.
Oh, Lord.
Gross. They make them rich. Don't make them rich. They're already rich. Why are you giving them your money in the name of airline miles? It's just straight up stupid. I hope I wasn't unclear. This is The Ramsey Show. Danny O'Neill, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Colton is with us in Iowa City. Hi, Colton. How are you?
Hey, Dave. I'm well. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
Better than I deserve, sir. How can we help?
Good. So my wife and I have been struggling maritally lately. We've been married. It'll be 6 years this August, and the 5th year has just been rough. One of the areas of stress are our finances. We're in need of rebuilding foundations, really. We have a starter emergency fund, about $32,000 in debt, a mortgage, and income that's not always predictable. So I've got some specific questions for you, but first I just want to know, what do you recommend to rebuild financial foundations in our marriage?
Well, I think everybody has to have a voice in the discussion, and sometimes that's what happens. And then the second thing that if everybody has a voice, the voice has to involve that as I use my vote in our marriage, that my vote is not for my selfish need or want. My vote is for the good of the overall family. That's how I'm using my vote. And so it's not like a little child, in other words, stomping their feet with a red face on the cereal aisle demanding Frosted Flakes because I deserve them. And sometimes we get that little kid inside of us making our adult decisions called selfishness, and then it affects our relationships. So couples that can rise up above their own selfish desires for the good of the overall family will ultimately get their own selfish desires, but they also get unity then, and because there's some nobility to that. But the most of the money fights that Sharon and I have had involve selfishness on one of our parts, usually mine. Does that make any sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got a new craving for a new car, and that's been not so good for us. And so I totally get that.
Yeah, so that kind of explains, what's going on with you. That's not a bad thing that you want a new car. The bad thing is if you actually acted on that while you're $32,000 in debt, and your wife's scared to death because she's worried with the erratic income all the time if you're going to have money for electricity. And you come waltzing in with your muddy boots going, I just bought a new car because I'm just the smartest guy on the planet. And she's going to slit your throat. That's what's going to happen, right? So that's what goes down. You just get angry at that stuff. But so you have to say, hey, I'm going to get a new car. But the way I'm going to get it is I'm going to live like no one else so that later I can live like no one else. Because I got to clean this $32,000 up for the good of myself and the good of this family before I can even talk about a car.
Yeah. I'm curious, Colton, what's the family household income?
So it is, she brings home probably around $2,800 a month. That's after tax. And then for me, I'm a worship leader at a church as well as a wedding filmmaker. So that is super sporadic. Making $15 an hour at the church.
So it sounds like about 40
a week, and then
about $40,000 a year.
Yeah.
Household?
Something like that.
Yeah. So I can see.
Depending on how many weddings that we book. Because if we book weddings, I can make $40,000 myself with just 15 or so weddings.
So what would a typical case study fight look like in your house? Describe it to me. About money, a money fight.
Yeah. Yeah, a typical fight, I guess, would be I want to do one thing and she wants to do something else with money. So, for example, I want to say invest a little bit of money. She don't want to do that. She wants to be rigid and pay off debt. Or I want to pay off a debt, but she's afraid of not having enough money for next month. And so a lot of it's pretty passive aggressiveness. We're not really vocal at each other like that, but it can lead to some tension.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where, if you'll start doing a detailed budget where every dollar of your income for this coming month has a name on paper, has an assignment on paper, and you agree on where it's going to go, and you're applying any extra money you can find into the budget to the baby steps, and both of you are in agreement on that concept, then what happens is all you're holding each other accountable to is what you agreed to, and that we're sticking to the baby steps. And here's exactly how this will go down. The first month, the first time you do a detailed budget where every dollar has a name, it's going to be a big fight. Get ready. You may need to actually stop midway through working on the budget and have a cooling off period, and both of you go for a walk around the block separately, because it's going to drag up all this stuff. Okay, it's going to drag up all these insecurities. It's going to drag up all these feelings of inadequacy, where maybe I don't feel like I'm making enough money or doing enough. It's going to drag up the little selfish kid that's in the cereal aisle. All this stuff is going to come up. But if you can push all of that down onto that paper and say, the best way for me to have the life I want, which is for my family to succeed, is to follow these steps and have a game plan for the money. The best way for me to have security is to follow these steps. Then you're going to begin to get the emotions under control. The second month, there'll be some rough spots in the discussion. The third time you do the budget, the third month, it'll actually start to work. But I'm going to promise you some pain between now and the third month.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, because I'm not married, but I from a money perspective, Colton, I would suggest, to help you kind of ease that pain a little bit, maybe you and your wife talk about what does success look like for us 5-10 years from now. What is our vision? What are we aiming for? Is it to be debt-free? Is it to buy a home? Is it to go on a dream vacation? Is it to build wealth? And then once you all identify that success, that vision, then the budget helps you get to that. Then the budget and we'll be like, all right, is this going to, if me buying a new car, or is me doing this, is that helping us get towards the next 5 to 10 years?
And if you're following the baby steps, you don't have to have a discussion about whether to do investing or to do debt. You have debt. We're working on the debt.
There you go.
So we've both submitted ourselves to this proven plan.
Yep.
And so all I got to do is go, no, it's not what the baby steps are, because we've agreed we were going to do those. Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess, darn it, that's right. So the best way to get to investing is to get out of debt, or the best way to get out of debt is temporarily stop investing. And so there's a reason the baby steps are laid out the way they are, and the reason tens of millions of people have done this now, literally.
Yeah.
That's not an exaggeration. And so you just say, all right, I'm going to do this plan that has worked for so many others. We are going to do the plan. We're both in agreement that we're going to do this plan. It's not like I'm going to do it and make you do it. Yeah. We're both in agreement. And then when that feeling rises up and she says, hey, I feel insecure, I really want to start investing, the best way for us to get investing is get this debt cleared. Let's keep hammering the debt.
There you go.
Okay. Or, I really want to, or you're thinking, man, I want to get a new car. Well, the best way to do that is get clear of all this stuff and have some wealth. Because right now you're too broke to be buying a car, and so you all of a sudden it all starts to come very, very clear, and some of your vision can be little things. I'll give you an example. When we were broke, I clearly remember Sharon and I arguing about the food budget, how much she was going to spend at the grocery store, and she was mad. I mean,
because she wanted more food.
Because I was not being forthcoming enough on that line item, okay? And she was hot. You know what Sharon looks like? She gets that look, right?
Oh, yeah.
Gets that head, gets cocked a little bit, yeah. And so, you can see it coming, right? And she says, someday, sarcastically, like he said, passive aggressive, I just hope we're rich enough that I can just go to the grocery store and just fill up the basket. And I said, you know what? The best way for us to get there is to stick the dadgum budget.
Hey.
And you know what? Today. She will tell you that story today. She remembers that fight too.
Are you serious?
Because she says, sometimes I just go and fill up the basket even though we don't need food. Just because, by God, I can do it now. Because we paid the price. We lived like no one else. Now I can fill up the basket.
Like no one else.
So maybe your vision is something just like that.
Absolutely.
Because what was that? That was a sign of her insecurity because I had screwed up and lost everything, and she's scared her family's going to be hungry.
Yeah.
That's what all that meant.
Yeah.
It was passive-aggressive as crud is what it was. This is The Ramsey Show.
Woo.
Hey guys, this is James, senior producer for The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? And a lot of those people listen on one of our 600 plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, head to TheRamseyShow.com.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Anthony O'Neill, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author of the book Debt-Free Degree. Yes, you can go to college debt-free, and he can show you how. He's my co-host today. Open phones here at 888-825-5225. Kristen is with us. Kristen is in Alberta. Hi, Kristen. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
Good. How can we help?
So I have a question. I bought a mobile home about 2 years ago, and I did a bunch of indoor repairs and put probably about 20 grand into it. However, I wasn't smart about my choice in renovating, so I ended up maxing out my Visa and my line of credit, doing the renovations, and then I've been living off of my line of credit for bills and food and everything else since then, since the spending got a little bit away from me, and I wasn't thinking about some of those things going into buying the place. So I've been putting everything I have extra into my Visa and my line of credit to try and keep my minimum payments low. And it's been about 2 years, and I came across you in November. So I started your baby steps, and I have $1,500 in my savings for the emergency fund, and then I'm working on baby steps 2. So I've seen finally now probably 3 months in a decrease in my Visa as I'm working on that with the higher interest rate. And I've run into some more renovations and repairs that I have to do due to the trailer park. So my question is it smart for me to just do what I need to do to the trailer park and sell the trailer? It was a foreclosure when I bought it, so I'm most likely going to make money off of it still. I just don't know if it's wise of me to continue working on the baby steps and pay off my debt and then work on towards paying my mobile home off, or if I should just sell.
So how much on your credit? How much do you owe on your credit card?
So my credit card, I'm at $7,100.
And how much do you owe on the trailer?
$42,000.
And what do you make a year?
So I just went up to about $27 an hour, and I get paid about 80 hours every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And it's just me that owns it. I'm 25.
And what can you sell the trailer for?
So if I finish doing the outdoor repairs, I could probably put it up for about $80,000.
Really?
Yeah, I got a really good deal. We've put in.
Really?
Yeah, I got a really, really good deal on this foreclosure. So
you can really sell a trailer that's used, that you've done a bunch of repairs to, for $80,000 in Edmonton, Alberta. Just the trailer.
Yes.
Is there land with it?
Sorry?
Is there land with it?
No, it's in a mobile home. Trailer park.
That's hard. Have you?
I hope you're right.
Yeah, me too. Have you gotten professional?
I don't think you are, but I hope you're right.
Have you gotten an expert to give you the number?
So I actually brought in the realtor who sold me the trailer when I originally bought it. It had been up for $75,000, and then I bought it for $50,000. And since then, we installed shut-off valves. We've done repairs to the furnace, flooring, electrical, all that. And so when she came in, there was a few things that as I finished up.
Listen, if you can get that or a lot less, sell it.
Okay.
Yes, and you want to know why?
Why is that?
Because what do you think an $80,000 trailer? Let's just pretend it's worth that because you think it is, and I really don't have a good basis for arguing with you other than I'm shocked. But let's just pretend it's an $80,000 trailer. What's it worth in 10 years?
I'm going to say probably half the price.
Ta-da!
Goodbye trailer.
Yeah.
It's not a good long-term plan. It turns out to have been a genius short-term plan. If you take 42 and double it into 80, I'm going to just smile for you and cheer you on and say, way to go. You are the luckiest trailer buyer I've ever met. And way to go. You killed it. And if you can get that 80 out of there, you get it out of there and you run as fast as you can go.
Okay.
If you can get 60 out of there tomorrow as is, take it and go.
Yeah, and that's what she said I could put it up for, given I do the repairs that I'm also told to do with the trailer park.
Yeah, how much are those going to cost?
I'm trying to do it on a budget, and so I'm doing all of the repairs myself.
And how much is that going to cost?
Well, skirting and hand railing and fence and deck.
And how much is that going to cost?
I'm not too sure. I'm new to this, so... I know when I did renovations before, the spending got away, and I didn't plan for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of here. If you can take 65 as is and sell it by the weekend, sell it.
Okay, because, between my line of credit and my Visa, I'm sitting up at about $60,000 with what
the good news is you're going to make money, and you're going to get rid of the stupid Visa bill of $7,100, and you're going to get rid of a trailer that's going down in value.
Okay.
That's the good news. It's not a good long-term plan to fix this and hold it.
Yeah.
The hassle of working on this and running up debt working on it has not been a blessing to you. It stressed you out. Am I right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And you're going to turn 80,000 into 40 if you keep it 10 years. There's no reason to stay in this deal, kiddo.
Zero.
Get out while the getting is good.
Yeah.
Apparently, you've made a good deal.
Yeah.
At least with the numbers you believe are true, and I sure hope you're right. Highly unusual, I'll tell you that.
And it sounds like, Dave, what she's trying to do is put more money into it to get to 80.
No, yeah, I know, but I sell it for 65 like it is.
Exactly.
And don't be out there building a deck in a trailer park.
No.
Get out of there. Man. Yeah, and you got your money out, and you...
And go get you an apartment. And you
got rid of your Visa, and then just, then start working your baby steps from a simple, inexpensive rental and build your life out that way, and you don't have any debt, and you're doing really, really good then. That's going to be the way to go. So, those of you in the mobile home industry, I'm not mad at you. But those of you that have bought one know that they go one direction when it comes to value. Down. They depreciate. They're a car you sleep in. That's what they are. This is not a home. Well, it's inexpensive. It's affordable. When you lose half of the value, it takes away all the affordability crap that you think you believe. This is not a play. Buy things that go up in value to live in. Simple rule. This is The Ramsey Show.
Still on baby step number 1, eh?
How'd you guess?
With healthcare costs rising, learn how Christian Healthcare Ministries can help you make the most out of your budget. Visit chministries.org/budget.
Don't worry, it's worth it.
Anthony O'Neill, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, nearly 1 in 10 people relocated last year, and that was 2020, when a lot of people weren't even moving around. That means this year there's a good chance you or someone you know is planning a big move. I know it feels like that there are 1,000 of unknowns if you're struggling and juggling with relocating, but you cannot lose focus of one of the most important and personal and financial factors in your move, your housing cost. I recommend hiring a quality real estate agent like one of our endorsed local providers to help you find the right home in your new city. ELPs are top-performing experts in their local market and have years of experience helping folks just like you make successful moves. It's easy to get instantly connected with an endorsed local provider, a high-octane, high-protein agent that knows their stuff to help you with the move. Go to RamseySolutions.com/agent, and you can talk with a Ramsey trusted agent about how they can help you with your relocation. RamseySolutions.com/agent. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com, one of America's great success story. This company is. Yeah, you ought to check them out. They're the number one online retailer of custom window coverings. I have bought window blinds from them. I love these guys. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best possible deal.
So, Dave, today's question comes from Teresa in Ohio. She says, my husband and I contributed monthly for our son in a state-run 529 plan. He will be going to college in the fall. Between the 529 plan and scholarships, he's earned we have almost enough to pay for all 4 of college.
Yay!
Yeah, I love it. Should we continue to put money in his 529 plan until he graduates college? Our other options are putting the money towards our daughter's 529 or paying down our $30K mortgage balance. Well, I mean, hey, you guys already have his 4 years taken care of. Should we continue to put money in 529 plan until he graduates? No. Should you go ahead and continue and put money towards your daughter's 529? Absolutely.
Yep.
Bottom line, easy. I mean, honestly, you could do both. Put money towards 529 and pay down your mortgage at the same time.
Exactly, depending on how much you need. What you need to do is figure out what the target is for her 529, and are you on pace to be there? If you're on pace to be there, maybe you lean on the mortgage.
Absolutely.
Or if you're behind, maybe you lean heavier on the on her 529.
Yeah.
Way to go, Teresa! Awesome. You did it.
I love it.
He paid for college
with
529 and scholarships.
Yep.
This is what Anthony O'Neill teaches.
Simple.
It's
too simple.
And you go to a school that actually allows you to be able to do that because you can afford the school.
Yes.
You pick a school based on. Listen, if you got $20,000 to buy a car, you don't need to test drive a Bentley. So you don't need to visit a college campus that's $80,000 a year if you're broke people. Why would you do that? Because when it comes to education, people lose their freaking minds.
Sure do.
They don't think anymore. They're not smart when it comes to education. And now that's an oxymoron. Sam is with us in St. Paul, Minnesota. Hi, Sam. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor. Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you. How can we help?
So, looking for a little what would you guys do question here. For the first time in my life, earlier this week, got a letter from a collections agency saying that I have a 3.5-year-old stupid red light ticket. And the more I investigate it, turns out they sent a citation to an old address that I haven't lived at since college. And of course, the thing has now, tripled in how much I owe. And
how much
I'm wondering, so right now it's at almost 400.
Mm-hmm.
Started out at 150.
Mm-hmm. And how much do you make?
I make like 116, and then my wife makes like 54. So we can roll the thing over. It's more of a matter of principle.
Well, yeah. I mean, Anthony's had more traffic violations than I have. Maybe he can tell you.
And man, I was barely rolling through as it turned red.
That was a good one.
So,
hey, man.
He gets that Porsche up, gets it going, and it gets pulled over. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Well, this was a 2008 Ford Taurus, so I wasn't doing that. Trust me.
Yeah, definitely not doing that in Ford. Hey, man, honestly, I mean, just pay it, man. You got the money.
Just get it out of here.
It's going to take you so much time to fight it. It's not going to really be worth it, bro. I mean, just hang up the phone, go pay the ticket, call it a wrap.
Yeah.
All right, will do. It's hard to swallow. Thank you, guys.
I don't blame you. It's hard to swallow. It's not $4,000 though.
Yeah.
Call it a day. Yeah, you're fighting with the government, and they're incompetent, and they know it, and you know it, and I know it. The only thing that's competent in this whole discussion was the stinking red light camera. It actually was telling the truth. But everything after that was not. Nobody else in the whole story was, including. I got one of those one time.
Yeah.
I got Knoxville. They put them up in Knoxville, and I was down there for a football game, and I roll a red light all the time.
I mean, he can call them and say, "Hey, listen, I see this in collections. I wasn't there. I'll give you half of it. I'll give you $250."
Try it, but it's probably not going to work.
Exactly. So
because they got you on that one. I mean, it's a traffic ticket.
Right.
So that's what you usually do. You just pay it.
I mean, listen, I got
in
pulled
your vast experience.
I got pulled over the other day. I just pulled over before the cop even pulled me over. I'm guilty. I mean, give me the ticket. I'm gonna pay the ticket.
You were really guilty, and he was really merciful. He didn't even give you a ticket.
He didn't. He sure didn't. Thank God.
Turns out he was a big Anthony O'Neill fan.
Yes, Lord. I've been working hard to get that. Yes, Lord. I mean, I'm serious.
He was nice to you.
Yes.
All right, Bob's in Cincinnati. Hey, Bob, how are you?
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Better than Anthony deserves. What's up?
So I got a question about how to utilize or best invest some extra cash that my wife and I have at the end of each month. So currently, we pay off everything. The only debt we have is our house. We pay that off, or should I say I refinanced at the beginning of 2020 on that, and I paid 2 times the monthly payments. We did a 30-year loan, so I just double up the payments trying to pay it off early. And so that said, what we have at the end of each month, about $4,500 to invest.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 kids, and we have a UTMA for each of them.
Mm-hmm.
We can max contribute $15,000 each year into those accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a traditional IRA that I put the remainder, usually about $6,000 in each year.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, my wife's company has a 403B that she max contributes to. And my company also has a SEP IRA that typically it's about 15 to 20 annually.
Are you putting 15% of your household income into retirement?
No.
Okay. What is your household income?
All in, let's see, gross, we're probably around 160.
Okay. What we teach folks to do is put 15% of their household income into retirement at baby step 4. Beyond that, fund your kids' college, which you're doing. And beyond that, put every extra dollar towards the house until it is paid off. Once it is paid off, you max out everything that's available to you, and you continue investing at that point. And that's what we call baby step 7 when the house is paid off. What do you owe on your home?
About $257.
Okay. You're going to be done with this house in no time with the numbers you're giving me. And it's going to be a beautiful thing. You're going to have a paid-for home that's worth a lot of money. No payments in the world, which guess what we did then? We just increased your monthly cash flow. Now you got even a bigger problem on where you're going to invest all this. Oh, darn, I hate it when that happens.
Well, I did forget to mention all my kids are girls, so...
well, there you go. It won't hurt to have some extra money laying around, because there's these, you may want wedding funds.
Yep.
They can be expensive if you allow them to be.
Really?
Like traffic tickets. I'm just saying, they show up, man. There's all these things in life that just happen. So you're doing so good, Bob. Way to go, man. Absolutely killing it. 15% of your income into retirement, then kids' college, then pay off your house as fast as you can. And then baby step 7 is you build as much wealth as fast as you can and be outrageously generous. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey,
Hey folks, I got a great option to help you pay for your education. The Army National Guard. The Army National Guard believes you are the next greatest generation because you have proven that even in adversity, that you have what it takes to succeed. That's why they offer benefits like tuition assistance, career training, and a paycheck to help you avoid debt. No matter what your goals are, the Army National Guard can help you get there. Visit nationalguard.com to find out more. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. Open phones this hour here at 888-825-5225. On the debt-free stage, First Baptist Church, Mount Dora, Florida. Pastor Thomas and Sherry Jameson. Anthony, also a former pastor from Florida. This church, First Baptist Church, has become debt-free.
Amen. It certainly has.
Are you guys in town for the Southern Baptist Convention?
Yes, sir.
All right. Wow. Y'all had a little ruckus down there.
So you heard.
You think? Yeah. Well, it's kind of an every year thing, but some years the ruckuses are bigger than others.
Yeah.
But congratulations, you got this paid off. How much debt did this church pay off?
Well, when I became pastor, they had $2,889,000 in debt. They were paying 8% interest on it. Oh. Yes, and it took 3 years for a bank to trust the new pastor to be able to refinance, and even then, it was only down to 6%.
Wow!
They had $524,000 of that debt in unsecured church notes to individuals that could be called in at any time with no penalty. And so it really put the church in a precarious position.
My goodness gracious, yeah.
So we refinanced over a 4-year period. When I went, the monthly payment was $23,600. That was every month. So the crash hit 12 months after I had been there. My first Sunday to preach on money was September the 9th of 2008. I remember it well. I'm preaching on money and how we need to be good stewards. We're taking a special offering, and the banks have all locked up. Great time for a special offering.
Wow.
So we did 3 special offerings over 3 months. They collected over $153,000.
Wow.
And we put that directly on the debt. And Sherry and I, as a sign of faith to the Lord, we had been given wedding money that we had put aside for 10 years, that we had kept kind of as our emergency fund, like what you talk about. And we gave the church for this debt all that we had in savings.
Wow.
And what I didn't know would be that it would take us about 6 years to save money again. And personally, we also we did not have any raises or anything for 8 years. We were really careful and trying to make sure that the church could afford staff and pay down the debt. So when I went, there were 39 employees. So it was very, very top heavy. And that meant we had to cut staff. There was a preschool. It was running in the hole. We had to do away with the preschool. It was a lot of hard decisions. But
you were not a popular guy some weeks.
If you only knew.
I do know.
So yeah.
I told a lady this morning, nothing is as mean as a good mean Christian.
Well, that's really true. We did go through a little, I hate to say splinter. We did have that in 2011 after I'd been there 3.5 years, and then all the debt notes, which was over 301,000, were called in.
Wow.
So the church, what we did is we managed, but we had about $35, I think, left in our checking account after we paid all of that off.
But it's gone forever then.
Exactly. It was gone forever.
This guy's a strong leader.
He is.
He's a strong leader.
He's still there.
Still there, 14 years. And so, by the way, we suspended all employee benefits except health insurance during this time because our budget fell by 33% from 2008 to 2012. It took a nosedive. It was a very construction-based church with no doctors, no lawyers, not even police and fire. I just started praying, God, give us people who earn a salary. We need teachers. We need doctors. And so I've baptized 9 police officers.
Yay. Wow.
And we've seen the Lord work through the years.
So when you started at the church, how many years ago? In 2007. How many people attended?
The day I was voted on, it was around 350 that voted.
How many today?
Well, pre-corona, we were running around 500.
Yeah. Wow.
485 to 500. It's been as high as 550.
And have been through a ride to get there. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm so proud of y'all.
So
well done. What gave you this fire to get the church's finances straightened out? That's not usually a pastoral gift.
No.
Sometimes we have to encourage pastors to do this.
My background was business, actually.
Oh, okay.
My bachelor's was in business. My parents, I was the first person in my family to be called into ministry.
Oh, okay.
And the first person in my church in almost 80 years to be called into ministry.
Wow.
And there was a group of little old ladies who prayed every week since World War II that somebody would be called into ministry. So the Lord answered their prayer in 1989. I surrendered, went into full-time Christian service, served as a missionary, went to seminary at New Orleans, and then after that did my PhD at Southwestern.
Yeah.
And then went to work for Billy Graham and worked for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association and did that for several years and traveled all over the country. And that's why there's positives to being young and dumb. So when I worked for Mr. Graham, we would raise $5 million in 6 months, and I did all of his largest crusades at the end, New York City and Los Angeles. And so I thought when I was young and dumb, $3 million wasn't that much. And so I thought, we can pay this off in 18 months at this church.
Yeah, only Billy Graham's not around.
Exactly.
So let me ask you
an
this.
issue.
Let me ask you this, Pastor Thomas. What was, throughout these 14 years, what was the hardest thing as a pastor to get the church and the community on board to be intentional about paying off this debt?
The hardest thing, constantly refocusing the vision that this matters. It matters in missions and what we can do in the community.
Yeah.
We're very active in our community. We have been the largest benevolence organization in Mount Dora, Florida, a number of years, where our giving in the city is over $80,000 that we're giving away.
Wow.
Our missions giving has been between $100,000 and $250,000.
Yeah.
At the same time, we were paying down debt, and the buildings were all falling apart at the same time. So we had to replace all the roofs, renovate the preschool. We had to renovate the children's building, the youth building. All of these structures had to be renovated at the same time as paying down debt. So that was the challenge. One of our deacons, who I love dearly, he's 92 years old. Mr. Ray White is his name. And Mr. Ray White would tell me from time to time when he saw that I was wavering, he'd look at me and he'd say, "Don't give up. You can do this." He never told me what to do. He was just a faithful steward. So one of the things I did is I called on other leaders, how do we pay this off? And they said, well, do some dinners and get all the people who give over $100,000 in your church. And I started laughing. And they said, well, get all the people who give over $50,000 in your church. I continued to laugh. I said, we don't have those kind of people in our church. We don't, to give $25,000 in a year.
So did you guys how did you get tied to us?
How did we get tied to you? Well, we've taught financial peace in our church for years.
Now, we've got a video of the congregation doing their debt-free scream.
Yes.
I want to make sure we get that on. So proud of you guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this opportunity.
Pastor Jameson, Thomas and Sherry are with us from Mount Dora, Florida. First Baptist Church. Paid off 100% of their debt. I talked to another church this morning down in Texas that just paid off $24 million in debt. They just cleared theirs, and but it's the same kind of story. It was a long slog.
Yes.
They fought through it. But when the bride of Christ can get out of chains, important things happen.
Amen.
So I'm so proud of y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Honored to know you guys. All right, James, let's fire that. A church debt-free scream! Woo! Yeah!
That is awesome.
Any of you churches that get debt-free that you want to come on and do that, we'll celebrate with you. I promise you. We're proud of you. Good stuff. Wow, well done. This is The Ramsey Show. Anthony O'Neill, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in and we'll talk about your life and your money. Josh is with us. Josh is in Chicago. How are you, Josh?
Hi, guys. I'm doing great. How about you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
It's such an honor to be talking to you guys. You guys are both such role models to me. So just to give you a little background, I'm 24 years old. I'm in my third and final year of the Doctor of Physical Therapy program. And basically, I'm working my way through cash flowing the program. My question is, I've estimated about $25,000 left from the 3 semesters I have. In my savings, I have about $33,000, and I have an additional $22,000 invested in mutual funds. And my question is, am I at a bit of a risk, having a possible change in tuition a little bit? I maybe have like a $4,000 or $5,000 margin. Am I good to let those mutual funds continue to grow, or do you think I should basically just cash them out to ensure that graduation?
Well, let me ask you this question. Is the mutual funds covered with the Roth IRA? Or is it in retirement?
No, there's not retirement. No, it's just regular mutual funds, not retirement.
Okay, cool. And you say you have $33,000 in your savings account right now?
Correct.
I mean, if I was you, and you only need 25?
About 25. I could see it.
I don't mind leaving it in there because I don't think they're going to go down that substantially if they did go down.
Me too. So, I'm sticking with my savings account just to cash flow through school.
Yeah, use the savings account first, and if you need to dip into the mutual fund, you can. It might have dropped a little. You might have lose a little, but that's going to be still better than going into debt.
Yeah.
And so, but you're going to burn your savings first and then dip into your mutual fund. That's what you're saying, right?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't in retirement. But, yeah, use a savings account.
Yeah, don't cash out a retirement account, but you shouldn't have putting it in there anyway until you're out of school. So, well done. Good. Good. I love it. Nicole is with us. Nicole is in Kansas City. Hi, Nicole. Whoops, wait a minute. Not there. There she is. Hey, Nicole, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Perfect. My question is, my husband and I are in baby step 2. We have about $31,000 just in student loan debt, and that's it. My husband does have one more year left of law school, but he's smart, so it's a full ride. And by the end of the summer with his internship, we should have about that $32,000 saved up in savings. But since his payments are being deferred for one more year, should we take that money that we have in savings and just pay it off now? Since interest starts back up in October, we're just not for sure. We've just been saving for this moment, and since we'll have all the money, we just don't know what to do.
So, Nicole, let me get this straight. Your husband has some scholarships get him through school 100% debt-free, right?
Correct.
Is there anything that could possibly come up that can change that?
No. At this point, just with his GPA, he's set going into this final year. So he's been on a full ride, luckily, all 3 years. So.
And they can't revoke that for any reason?
Correct.
Okay. And how are you paying for the rest of your life?
Off my income, I make about $40,000 a year.
Okay, so you pay rent, food, and so forth with that. His school is paid for, locked for the last year. Done.
Correct.
Yeah, go ahead and pay it off.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, we just weren't for sure, and we just didn't know if with payments being deferred and all that type
Here's
of
what's
stuff,
going to. Here's an interesting thing that you haven't thought of, and you're going to be able to feel it just by saying it. When you pay this off, you're going to feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to physically feel it.
Right. Okay.
That's not a math thing.
Right.
That's a cleanliness thing. That's a spiritual thing.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted some confirmation. So we were just, maybe we'll hold on to it until we can start making payments. We just didn't really know what to do.
Now, Nicole, let me say this. If there is a 1% possibility that something could come up to where you will have to pay something, then I want you to hold on to that money to make sure that you get through college without racking up any more debt. If there's a 1%. Now, as soon as he graduates, you're going to take all that money and put it on top of the student loans. But if you know 101% that there's no way that you all will need any more money to graduate, then I'm working with Dave. Go pay off your student loans today.
Do not put yourself in any possible position where you have to borrow money to finish law school.
Right.
When you had the money in your hand. Right. And spent it on this.
Yeah.
So don't do that. But it sounds like that they've already made the commitment, and even if his GPA went down, that this year is over, because they make the commitment 1 year at a time, they being the law school.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me. So, hey, good question. And what a great job he's done. Obviously, he's a smart cookie. That kind of GPA in law school, enough to get free money. That's a good thing.
Real good thing.
That's a good thing.
And they said it's impossible. Interesting.
Tina is in St. Petersburg, Florida. Hi, Tina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, I'm hoping y'all can help me with a problem that I have here. I have a $200,000 vacation property that is paid for. It's a cabin on 13 acres. And we also have a $225,000 mortgage on our primary home, which we also use as an Airbnb. And I'm wanting to know if you think that we should take the investment property, the cabin on the acreage, and sell it to pay off the mortgage that's our Airbnb.
I'm sorry. Is it your primary residence or is it an Airbnb? How can it be both?
We have some additional rooms that we rent out.
Oh, I see.
We live in part of the house. Yeah.
I see. Okay. And what's your household income?
We have about $93,000 take home per year.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how quick do you pay off the mortgage if you keep the lake house?
If I can put everything into it, keeping my current full-time job, a little under 4 years.
Yeah. You like the lake house?
Well, I've only been up there once.
And how long?
So it's been a little less than a year that we've owned it.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you're not going to use it, even if your home were paid for, I probably would sell it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to use it and you love it and you want to fight for it and for scratch and claw and grind for 4 years and keep the thing and get your mortgage paid off, I'd be okay with that too.
Yeah.
Either one of those is an okay process. The trick is that have a short-term plan to be debt-free and don't keep things that keep you in debt that you don't even use.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, I mean, if you put those two things together, you get your answer out of this.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. Also, with that, we had thought about purchasing an additional duplex to have 2 more Airbnbs, but with what I've got going on right now, I wouldn't be able to do that debt-free.
No. Yeah, no. Stay away.
Here's the problem. Some cities are passing ordinances against Airbnb.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if they pass that as a zoning violation in your area after you went in debt to do it, now you got to just have 2 duplexes.
Right.
Yeah. And so, because you're running a hotel is what you're running. And some cities are objecting to that from a zoning standpoint, and some neighbors are objecting to it as well. So, it's not all roses and rainbows with Airbnb. So, I'm not saying it's horrible. A lot of people are making good money on it, but to assume that is your business model long term is probably not a good plan.
Yeah. No, I agree. I was looking into it, Dave, and I didn't do it too because of my realtor. He said, "Hey, I don't trust the zoning, especially here in Nashville."
Well, Nashville passed a law against it.
Yeah.
So it's being challenged in court,
right?
Because Nashville tries to do a lot of communist stuff.
But tell me about it.
Yeah, we'll see what they get away with or not. But that's they did. They flat out shut it down. So there you go.
Did.
Well, there you go. That puts this hour in the books. Anthony, good hour.
Hey, thank you, Dave.
Well done. James Childs is our producer. Kelly Daniels, our associate producer. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host, and we'll be back.
Hey, it's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free scream live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Open phones here as we talk about America's largest legalized fraud this hour. Timeshares. Oh, I just got a little throw up in my mouth when I said it. Timeshares. If you've been ripped off or locked in one of those rooms, or someone you love has been ripped off by a timeshare company, you know what that makes you? Typical. Most people have. It's a horrible business. They have absolutely zero value. You know what a timeshare is worth when you try to sell it? Zero. You actually have to pay to get rid of it. And you go on vacation, and you're so cheap that you thought you were going to beat them up, and they say, we'll give you a free hotel room if you will just come to the sales presentation. And then they lock you in the sales presentation with no food, no water, and no bathroom breaks for 6 hours. Literally does happen. Until you surrender because your blood sugar is so low that your brain quits working and you buy one of the dumbest things on the planet called a timeshare. Even going to one of those meetings is a dumb thing. Signing up to get a free hotel room that isn't that great to start with in return for giving up 6 hours of your soul is a dumb thing. Don't do that. That's like going over to the zoo and they say, we'll give you a year's pass if you go into the cage with the tiger and pet him for an hour. Oh, by the way, he's not eaten in 3 days. He's a greedy animal and he will chew on your head. He will likely not allow you to pet him. You will die. And you go, oh no, for a free pass to the zoo for a year, I'll try petting the tiger because I can pull it off. And you go in and you come out without your arm. And then you're shocked because the tiger ate your butt. Well, that's what happens. The AARP says the top 10 scams that cost older Americans the most money. Number one way the elderly is scammed, romance scams. $83 million lost last year. Number 7 out of the list of the 10. Scams that take money from the elderly. According to the AARP, timeshares, 17.4 million. Number 10, trying to sell the timeshare, 12.5 million, which, by the way, together is $30 million that the elderly have been cost last year. In late December, Diane Burkhart sent a complaint to the FBI describing how her 88-year-old father agreed to purchase $250,000 worth of timeshare points over the course of 18 months. He was diagnosed with dementia during this time. He's now 89 and living in a nursing home. And the couple, of course, purchased the points from Diamond Resorts International, one of the grossest of all the timeshare companies, who has just been purchased or is in agreement to be purchased by Hilton for $1.4 billion. Hilton, you're getting ready to screw up a really good brand by swallowing this rat. I know you think you're swallowing this rat, but you're going to get indigestion when you do, Hilton. It's going to cause you a problem. As a matter of fact, there are activist shareholders trying to prevent the sale because they do not want Hilton to buy Diamond Resorts. Her father, 87 at the time, enjoying a day trip to the beach with his wife at a town about 30 miles from their house in Central California, and they came across a charming hotel. Unbeknownst to them, the property was Hotel California. No, I'm kidding. You can leave, but you can't. You can come in, but you really can't leave. You know how to... Been purchased by Diamond. Salespeople standing outside the property lured the old interested couple into a timeshare sales pitch. She writes that they immediately regretted the purchase. A month after purchasing the first contract, my dad tried to end the agreement due to his wife's declining health and included a letter. Diamond turned him down, so he paid off the promissory note in full, believing that would be the end of it. It was only the beginning. Shortly thereafter, Diamond told them they needed to go to a meeting to learn how to use their points. The meeting turned out to be another lengthy sales pitch. $250,000 later, they owned a bunch of points to Diamond. Oh, by the way, he had dementia. Turned it over to the FBI, who's investigating. It's not the first time consumers have described possible elder abuse in the timeshare industry, which was reinventing its business model in recent years. Yeah, sales are down. Timeshares used to be tied to a specific property where people owned a partial deed and had the right to vacation for a set amount of days a year. But in recent years, the industry has instead switched over to the points concept, which is kind of like those airline miles you get with your credit card. You ever tried to use them? Dadgum near impossible. So if you've been screwed over by the timeshare industry, we want to hear from you this hour. We're going to talk to real people. We're going to talk to attorneys who are suing the timeshare industry. We're going to continue to expose this fraud in America today. Diamond International being at the top of the list, Westgate along in there, and Wyndham, you have done some nasty things to people. And we're going to be talking about all of you guys this hour at length. Things that actual real people are saying about you, like the AARP or the FBI. These are initials that actually people think might matter when someone files a complaint against you people because you screw people for a living. A timeshare is one of the worst possible products out there because it has zero value. Zero. None. Nada. Horrible. With what you spend on a timeshare, you go pay $22,000 for a week. How many times can you stay in a freaking hotel for $22,000? Where is the math going? Did you people go get out? Unbelievable. What grade did you graduate from? But when you're sitting in the tiger cage and the tiger's going, come here, I won't eat you if you sign. Come here, pet the tiger. Go into the tiger cage and pet the tiger. He's not eaten for 3 days. They will tell you anything. They will lie to you. They will be mean to you. They will be nice to you. They will do anything to get you to give them your money for something that has absolutely no value. Zero, none, nada, no value. So, timeshare people, we want to hear from you. The phone number is 888-825-5225. If you're in the scummy business and you want to debate me, call in. Come into the tiger cage. That would be good radio. Yeah. And maybe you don't like me. That's fine. Come on. We'll talk. I don't like you either, so it's a fair trade. Yeah. You screw people for a living. You should stop it. Oh, my son's a timeshare salesman. Dave, you shouldn't talk nasty about him. Your son should get a job where he doesn't screw people for a living. He's scum. Don't be scum anymore, and I won't call you scum. It's easy. Real easy. Don't rip people off, and you won't have me on your back. It's not a hard thing. Phone number here is 888-825-5225. What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. So if you have a background in the timeshare industry, or you have been ripped off by them, or you want to talk about the business because from a personal experience, we want to hear from you. The phone number is 888-825-5225. You can also email Kelly and put timeshare in the subject line and tell us a little bit about your story, and we'll get back in touch with you and put you on a future show on timeshares, because this won't be the only time we talk about America's greatest legalized fraud. So you can email Kelly at daveonair@ramseysolutions.com. daveonair@ramseysolutions.com. Put timeshare in the subject line. Tell us a little bit about it and give us a place for Kelly to get back in touch with you. We're not going to tell you what to say, but we just want to arrange for you to be on the air and tell your story to 22 million people. Yeah, you should. We want to hear from you. daveonair@ramseysolutions.com. Ben is in Chicago. Hi, Ben. What happened with you?
Oh, I've had quite a journey with the timeshare industry, and actually with you as well. I went to get my master's about 7 years ago, and one of my professors made us study this book. You may have heard of it, Total Money Makeover. Mm-hmm. And so my wife and I actually began to live out those steps, very laser focused, because our goal was to not have kids until we were debt free. We accomplished that goal. And then once we had kids, our laser focus from fatigue or whatever went away, and had made a couple questionable choices. One of them happened in February. We hadn't taken a vacation, just her and I, together for a long, long time. And so went down to Florida. I'm naturally relatively frugal, and so got signed up for a timeshare presentation in hopes that we could see some free SeaWorld. And so went down there and had a...
You didn't even get a free night. You got tickets to SeaWorld.
To see, yep, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So we went down there, and this is this past year, so February 11th we showed up. As far as the accommodations, that is fine. You know, nothing overly special, but it's fine. Did that for 3 days, and finally the timeshare presentation came around. It was early in the morning on Valentine's Day, Sunday morning. And so we went down there early, got pulled into a room, had a one-on-one experience with the salesperson. And then they start asking you personal questions about yourself, because they're trying to find what they can poke, what they can manipulate, right, what your soft spots are. And like I said, for me, it's my kids. And so they poked and prodded until they found that. And basically the sales pitch was, well, you want to have your kids have a great experience, right? You want them to have regular vacations, right? You want them to grow closer to you. This is how you do it. You can do it in an affordable way. Since I do have a background with you in the past, but I hadn't recently been walking that line well, I knew timeshare was not ideal. So I said, look, I don't want to be in a contract. I don't want to pay an XX amount. It's got to be a deal. And so he said, well, we are the only timeshare company that offers a full buyback guarantee. So if you don't like it, whenever this happens, you sell it back. It will be market retail. You're gonna have at least as much as you paid for it, if not more. And so that was appealing, right? It's a get out of jail free card if we hated it. And he gave us points. And so he said, your stay is 40,000 points. And I said, well, what is that worth, right? It means nothing until you have some time on it. He said, for the stay here in a Silver Lake Resort, which is in Kissimmee, Florida, he said that was worth 3 weeks. And I said, okay, did the math. We did a down payment of $5,000, 0% interest for the rest of it, which is $10,000 total. Done the math, obviously, on that 3 weeks in Orlando, and they said, or anywhere else. It was a fairly reasonable deal. And so we walked out. We felt pretty comfortable with it. But everything we found out very quickly was fraudulent. So 11 days out, which of course is 1 day after the contract, they finally give us the login information. No points there. I call in and they say, well, you just got to wait. We'll insert the points for you. And the process goes on. And finally, in April and May, we have access to our points. And so I try to punch them in to test their value because I'm starting to feel pretty concerned about this at this point in time. And I realized that 40,000, and not only just 40,000, but they gave us a bonus, 12,000 points on top, wasn't worth 3 weeks. In fact, it wasn't even worth 1 week of a stay at this resort. And so I called back in and said, this is fraudulent sales practices. I don't want to be a part of this. And so I'm going to evoke the buyback guarantee. And they said, we don't offer such a thing. So, of course, this drove me through all sorts of things, including reading every word of the contract. And, of course, built into the contract is this tiny little phrase, we are not held accountable to anything the salesman says. And so we went through that process, tried to get a hold of him, back and forth, no response. Right in the middle of that, of course, in my stress and distress, you did this hour-long timeshare presentation talk, which made me feel much, much worse about my situation.
I'm sorry.
And no, it's okay. It was just the reality, right? It was truth.
Yeah.
Truth doesn't always
So
feel
which
good.
company is this?
The resort is called Silver Lake Resorts in Kissimmee, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the affiliation. I know you've talked about some of these bigger entities, but I'm not entirely sure of whatever their affiliation is. But since then, I've contacted the Better Business Bureau. Of course, all they do is say, too bad. We've contacted them. They refuse to work with you. They refuse to work with you. They refuse to work with you. We'll just put a bad review on their page, which doesn't help me at all. So right now I'm stuck with something I don't want based on 2 aggressive lies. When I finally got a hold of somebody, of course, they said, well, we can't do anything for you. And the guy who sold that to you, of course, doesn't work here anymore.
Of course.
Which I'm assuming is just a quick way for them to...
they don't, because they know they're screwing people and they go get a job where they don't have to do that anymore. Because most people have somewhat of a soul, most people do. But so I'm trying to look up Silver Oak on Google while we're doing this. James, you keep poking around. It looks like it's independent. RCI Resort Directory. I don't know what RCI is, but yeah. So, but anyway, we know that that's one. But this is standard. I mean, this is standard for all. This story could have been logged under any any of the companies that are out there, because this is exactly what happens with every one of them. And so, but this one is, whatever RCI is, apparently they're affiliated with that. So very interesting. Wow. I'm so sorry, Ben. Sorry you got screwed, but thank you for telling the story, because that lets people know that this really happens all the time. So really what we're saying is you can tell a timeshare salesman is lying if his mouth is moving. That's what you experienced.
That's accurate. And after your long presentation about this, I was really embarrassed, and I haven't want to tell anyone about it. But I thought, you know what? Scripture is filled with these guys who make mistakes, and it's from their mistakes that we actually grow from it. So I thought, you know what? I'm embarrassed about this. I don't want to tell people about this. I don't want to tell my neighbor about this. But people need to know.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you pushing through that. When I went broke and lost everything, I was embarrassed to tell anybody about it for a long time. And now I've helped a whole lot of people because I told the story. So all it makes you if you got messed over by these people is human, dude. You got nothing to be embarrassed about. They lied to you. As you said, it was a fraudulent transaction. And now we just let the world know. Silver Lake Resorts, Kissimmee, Florida. Gosh, I wouldn't want to be them this week, would you? Can you imagine what happened when I just said that over the radio with 22 million listeners? Can you imagine working there tomorrow? Largest legalized fraud in America today, the timeshare industry. Billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. One of the largest, Diamond International, being sold right now to Hilton for $1.4 billion. Mike Flaskey, the CEO, Mikey, I call him. Mikey is obviously, as the CEO, is holding a bunch of stock in his hand that's getting ready to be converted to Hilton stock. This guy's getting ready to get richer than he already is with this sale to Hilton. Activist investors are fighting the Hilton, stockholders of Hilton are fighting against this sale, saying it's bad for Hilton. Well, guess what? It is. When you swallow a whole wheelbarrow load of rats, you know what you're going to get, Hilton? Indigestion. Your brand is going to get screwed up because you're associated with people screwing people. Westgate, this bunch. Westgate Resorts, according to this article, Westgate Resorts class action alleges high-pressure sales tactics, uses high-pressure schemes to convince prospective purchasers into buying vacation timeshare program, according to Legal News. A recent class action lawsuit alleges Westgate failed to adequately disclose material and legally required information to prospective buyers and also doesn't provide adequate access to their timeshares. There it is again. In addition, the timeshare owners claim Westgate fails to adequately train and supervise its sales agents and does not provide them with disclosures to give to prospective customers and encourages them to lie to customers with high-pressure sales pitches. Westgate also allegedly relies on its closing agents to provide written disclosures and provides them with a closing portfolio that contains a secret pocket, where the closing officers can conceal legally required disclosures about the consumer's rights, including their right to rescind the purchase. Scummy! Scummy, 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 scummy! Randy's in Madison, Wisconsin. Got a timeshare story. What's up, Randy?
Hey, Dave. My story's not unique probably to anything that you guys have already discussed or anything, but I just kind of wanted to share and just kind of warn people about what you're talking about. And it kind of relates to what you say about credit cards. You're just playing with snakes. And if you get in that snake pit with them, eventually you're going to get bit. So don't even give them the opportunity to bite you, because that's what they're really trying to do, is lure you into that pit and fill you full of their venom. It's like when we went and did it, I think they really, truly try to prey on poor people the most. Because if you got money, you're really not there trying to seek a good deal on a vacation. You just go on vacation. You get the hotel room, you book, you get the flights, and you go. But they try to, I think, prey on the people that they're trying to reel in by, well, we can sell them this great deal, even though they might not be able to afford it. It'd be the only way they can go on vacation.
What happened to you?
Well, in our scenario, we were just newly married. And we were thinking about, vacations, heck, we got 40, 50 years hopefully together. And what do we want to do for vacations, And we got this thing in the mail, say, come join us, basically feed you for give you that free meal and lure you into a casino night where you could win gifts. And then they lure you into the room by themselves and they give you the sales pitch. And they all, just like everyone else has said, the pressure, the tactics that they use, the promises they give you. But even so more, the stuff that they don't tell you. We weren't told about numerous things, whether it be the RCA subscription that you had to use to buy every year, whether it was the exchange fee that you had to pay if you wanted to go outside your week, and we borrowed money, and like you say, the borrower slave to the lender. I walked out of that meeting that night with them guys, and, they bring you in with the one guy, and then, they got the guy in the back who can make you a better deal. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I walked out of there that night, me and my wife, sick to our stomach. As soon as we got in the car and left that, after we signed on the dotted line, we were sick to our stomach. What did we just do? Well, little did we know we had a right of rescission. We knew nothing about that because we weren't educated in it. They didn't let us in on any of that, that we could have got out of it, when we got home the next day. But we were reeled in, and with all the promises. And
which company?
So well, and Dave, I don't know who that was. It was up at the Wisconsin Dells outside of Madison, and it was at Christmas Mountain Village is the name of the resort. But it might have been like Winter Tree or Winter Green or something like that. I can't really remember.
Blue Green.
That? Okay. That could have been what it was. But
probably.
And, I mean, and I know people, Dave, that own 3 of these things, and they don't ever leave their yard. Can you imagine that? I mean, you're talking $4,000 or $5,000, and you're not even going on vacation, but you own 3 of them. Well, boy, I to talk about a sucker once, sucker twice. But so we were blessed, Dave. Unlike the gentleman that you just had on before me in Wisconsin, we contacted the Better Business Bureau and the Consumer Protection Agency, and they actually filed a class action lawsuit on our behalf. And we did not pay a dime to get out of it, and they won the lawsuit, and they agreed to let us out of the deal and give us our money back.
Wow.
So praise God.
Yeah, you got out. You got out with your skin. But other than that, it's the same story.
It's the same story. I mean, don't even give them the opportunity because...
just don't go in the tiger cage. Don't pet the tiger.
Right. You think you're stronger than the tiger, but when you get in the cage, you realize you're not.
Yeah. Don't pet the tiger.
Yeah.
Why pet the tiger? Just for a pass to the zoo. It's silly. That's what everybody does. Hey, man, thanks for the call. I appreciate you sharing that. Hey, if you got a timeshare story, call us at 888-825-5225 or email me at daveonair@ramseysolutions.com. daveonair@ramseysolutions.com. Put timeshare in the subject line. Tell Kelly, who'll be picking up those emails, a little bit about what's going on and how to get in touch with you. We certainly won't tell you what to say, but we will schedule you to be on the air. Scott Montgomery is an attorney who frequently sues the timeshare industry. He's in Springfield, Missouri. We thought we'd have Scott on because he's got some expertise in this area. How are you, Scott?
I'm great, Dave. How are you?
I am better than I deserve, sir. And that's confirmed by Mike Flasky.
Wow.
So tell me, he thinks I deserve a lot worse, in other words. So tell me your experience with this industry.
Well, back in 2018, we filed lawsuits here in Missouri, near Branson, Missouri, which is a beautiful part of the country, but certainly a cesspool of timeshare activity. So we were hired by dozens of defrauded, mostly elderly timeshare owners, and we filed lawsuits on their behalf. And in retaliation for that, Wyndham and Blue Green sued me personally down in Florida, where I have never practiced law, and I'm still mired in those lawsuits today. The discovery seems to be never ending. And, these lawsuits against attorneys like me who represent defrauded timeshare owners, they're clearly designed to chill access to the courts for these defrauded owners. It's really horrible. One of the timeshare pushers' attorneys actually said in court that their goal is to put fake law firms out of business. They call mine a fake law firm. You know, we're a small law firm of 4 attorneys here in the Missouri Ozarks. But we're far from a fake law firm, and we've filed lots of lawsuits against the timeshare industry. In the suit that they filed against us down in Florida, they actually complain that we have not sued them enough. So we have tried to oblige them and sue them some more.
That's fabulous. Oh, can you hang with me through this break, Scott?
I sure can, Dave.
Okay, I'll be right back with you. I want to hear the rest of this. So we obliged them and sued them some more. I like this guy. This is fun. Oh, we're talking about timeshares this hour. If you want to join the discussion, the phone number is 888-825-5225. Our scripture of the day, Psalm 62:5. Let all that I am wait quietly before God, for my hope is in Him. Amelia Earhart said, decide whether or not the goal is worth the risks involved. If it is, stop worrying. Well, our goal today is to continue to expose and continue to discuss the timeshare industry. The American Association of whatever having to do with the timeshare business is called ARDA. And they funded a report that says that 87% of timeshare owners rate their timeshare ownership as good or excellent, funded by the timeshare industry. However, University of Central Florida did a study that says just the opposite. 85% of timeshare owners who go to contract regret their purchase. How many businesses do 85% of their customers think they suck? And they stay open? How many? Unbelievable. All right, we're talking with an attorney in Missouri, Scott Montgomery, who was, on behalf of elderly people ripped off in the Ozarks with timeshares, had sued several companies. Their answer was to sue him, to sue the attorney. And since they're a small law firm, to go ahead and just bury them in discovery requests, buckets and failings of discovery requests to see if they can put these attorneys out of business. Their goal is to put these attorneys that sue them out of business by countersuing them or suing them and burying them. Scott, that's what you said, right?
Absolutely, Dave. That's what's happening.
Now, Christian Waugh was on here a few weeks ago, another attorney who's representing attorneys who have been sued. And is he representing you too?
Yes, he is, Dave.
Oh, good, good. Sharp. Very good. So you guys are kind of banding together to fight back.
We are, absolutely. We're trying to gather together good litigators from around the country to combat this problem. And, you know, our firm, we represent almost 7,000 timeshare owners from around the country, and I would say that 100% of my thousands of clients think that the timeshare industry sucks and they hate their timeshare and regret their purchase tremendously.
Yeah, so that's an unofficial survey right there. But fairly accurate. Yeah, if you hired an attorney to sue somebody, you pretty much think they suck. I think that's 100%. Yeah, I go with that. That's fun.
Amen.
So the cause of action from a legal perspective that you guys usually take, if you're going to sue someone, you can't just make up something to sue them about, unless you're the timeshare business, which they made up something to sue you about. But you guys are finding actual fraudulent processes that you're putting in the case, I assume.
Absolutely, Dave. We sue for fraud and for negligent misrepresentation and for violations of State Merchandising Practices Act which allows our clients to recover their damages along with their attorney's fees. But we've also started filing lawsuits based upon some more innovative causes of action, I think. One is for the charging of illegal document preparation fees. If you go to a closing at your timeshare sales presentation, you're probably going to be stuck with hundreds or thousands of dollars of illegal document preparation fees. That constitutes the unauthorized practice of law. That's a crime. A non-attorney cannot charge for document preparation fees. We're also seeing tactics where the timeshare pushing companies, they charge the consumer for title insurance for these points.
You don't get title.
Created.
If you don't get title, how can you get title insurance?
It is certainly a mystery to me, but they charge hundreds or thousands of dollars for title insurance for points that they created. It's just crazy. We have seen a large timeshare pusher charge thousands of dollars for a life insurance policy, so the consumer can, be sure and pay off their debt to the timeshare company when they pass away. Wow. We've also filed suit for the unauthorized practice of realty. These timeshares, they're an interest in real estate, and the seller, the agent,
doesn't have a real estate license.
Yeah, the guy who's sitting across the table from you at the timeshare sales presentation, they should have a realtor's license, and they don't. So we're filing suit on the basis of all of those things.
Yeah. And how often are you getting them out these days?
Well, that's a great question. It depends on the individual circumstances of the individual case.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of timeshare pushers in the country.
But you said you had 7,000 cases underway, right?
We have almost 7,000 clients currently, or who we have helped to obtain a release in the past.
Okay.
We've helped thousands of people obtain a release.
Mm-hmm.
It is, unfortunately, it is much easier for you to get out of your timeshare contract if you are what is known in the industry as paid in full. If you've paid off your timeshare mortgage, and that's a thing, most timeshare purchases are financed. If you've paid off your mortgage and you've paid your annual maintenance fees, which are often $1,500 for something you can't use, if you're paid in full, we can often negotiate a release for you from the timeshare pushing company.
Yeah.
If you still have a mortgage, it's much more difficult.
Yeah, they don't want to give up that money. But if they already got your money, they're more likely to let you go. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh my gosh. Hey Scott, we appreciate you sharing with us today, man. That's incredible. I'm so sorry they're going after you personally. That's just ridiculous. But it's par for the course for these guys. They think they have enough money to just bury anybody who takes them on, and now they've met somebody that's not gonna happen. James is with us. James is in Waco, Texas. Hey, James, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Dave. How are you?
Good. Give me a quick version of your timeshare mess.
Okay, basically, back in March of '99, my wife and I went on a honeymoon in Las Vegas, and we were hanging around the hotel, and guy came up to us and was talking to us about a show that they were giving free tickets to that night if we wanted to come and listen to a presentation the next day. So we did that, and make a long story short, we ended up listening to the presentation, and we purchased a timeshare from him, and we had the timeshare for about 15 years and only used them 5 times.
What'd you pay for it?
It was $15,000, I think.
Okay, so you paid $3,000 per use.
Yeah.
And so,
like that.
yeah, and so was it worth that? I mean, did you?
No.
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 Okay. I mean, what could you have bought a hotel room that was similar to that for?
Oh my goodness, probably $120 at the most back then, anyway.
Yeah, yeah, per night. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, per night, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Which company was this?
It was Diamond.
Diamond International.
International, yeah, Diamond International.
Diamond Resorts, yeah. Yeah, they're big in Vegas.
Diamond Resorts.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest
Our
ones.
Times Square was in Las Vegas. It was at the Polo Towers there.
Okay. So what ended up happening at the end of the story?
Well, basically, we went to Branson for another vacation, and the hotel had the same guys there from Diamond Resorts. They was pushing, these timeshares, and I told the guy we were already a member of the timeshare, so they looked us up and said, hey, you guys are under the old program. That's why you're having to pay all these maintenance fees, but if you sign up for the new program, you don't have to pay the maintenance fees. And of course, we were already listening to your show and was trying to figure out what to do about all that.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry, James. So our answer is if you've been screwed and you complain about it, we'll sell you some more. What a business. 85 to 87% of your customers hate you and you still stay in business. That's amazing. Well, maybe we can help with that. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus. Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.